So toxic chemicals so common in consumer products and manufacturing that they're everywhere, including inside our bodies, I'm told. Public health inspector and head of the Caribbean Poison Information Network, Sherika Whitelocke-Ballingsingh, joins us now to discuss, to understand the harmful impacts of forever chemicals and the need for eradicating them from our food sources. Morning, Mrs. Whitelocke-Ballingsingh, how are you?
Good morning, Neville. I'm fine, thank you.
Great to have you with us. So forever chemicals mean that there is chemicals forever, don't?
They're always there. It means that they're always there. And if you would remember, well, if you are a science student and if you're in physics and you study about chemical half-lives and how long they take to come out of the environment or to come out of the human body, and that is how you would describe forever chemicals. So these are like fluorinated carbon chemicals. They're called PFOS, PFAS, PFO. You have perfluoroalkyl, you have perfluoroalkyl chemicals, and it's just fluorine and carbon, and it's how they are put together as polymers, and they're used within industry, whether it's the food industry, whether it's the textile industry, and whether it's the cosmetic industry. And we see them also on, the non-stick pots. So years ago, I think it was maybe in the 1970s, and it was DuPont who came up with these lovely pots. And they used Teflon on them. And they were quite fine for everyone that used it then. And then over the years, after studies have been done, they realized the impact it was having on health and the health burden. And now we're seeing these chemicals showing up in pretty much just about everything that we use. They're also in some of the water supply, depending on where the water catchment area is located. If it's located close to an industry that uses it, and also if there's cross-contamination. So why is it that we are concerned about this? For me, specifically as a female, it's an issue in terms of gender, because these chemicals, they're affecting us more as women in terms of reproductivity, in terms of how the reproductive organ functions, especially the ovaries. And we have been seeing that in science over the years. And why do I focus so much on food? Because just about everyone consumes food, correct? Just about everyone consumes food. Yes. So being a public health person and looking on how things that we consume affect our health and the health burden it can have on the system in terms of the system of Jamaica, I think it's very relevant for we to talk about it in terms of the food industry and how best we can mitigate this, especially in Jamaica.
All right, can we narrow it down then, Sherika, specifically to areas in Jamaica that are a priority in terms of a concern for you?
For me, I look on food establishments. So we look about the fast food places that prepare food for consumers. Look on their packages. Does the packaging material contains PFAS in terms of their manufacturing procedures? Are there good manufacturing practices? Does it allow for cross-contamination of PFAS-related substances within the food and also onto the packaging material? Bearing in mind that not all food entities produce their own packaging. So those food entities would have to look on the source of their packaging, and also if the companies that provide the package for them, if they are using PFAS-free package.
But so Sherika, in terms of all of this inspection for packaging of the food, etc., who's responsible to check that out? Because it can't be the end user, me and you.
Which is true, but looking at our context here in Jamaica, in terms of public health, there is not testing that is done on food packaging, right? And so that is where CARPing with international collaboration becomes relevant, because I get the opportunity at CARPing to utilize resources within my international community to do testing on chemicals that we think might be filtering within Jamaica. So in terms of the public health sphere, the public health inspector would merely go out and look for how the establishment is set up and just the standards that the government would set out for how places should be inspected. When you look on the specific material in packaging, there is no entity in Jamaica that would be given that mandate because of our system is been set up. But now that it comes to the forefront, persons know that, okay, if this type of laboratory service is offered in Jamaica, whether it's through BSJ, whether it's through the University of the West Indies or other private laboratories, the companies that produce these food packaging or use them can optimize on getting it tested. So it would be the responsibility of the company to ensure that this happen. And how now do government monitor to ensure it happens is that when you think about a policy being placed, you would say a company should declare that they do not have this, or they should put it on the food packaging, PFAS free. Once that is there, anyone can do a random testing to check if it's actually PFAS free.
Yeah, it sounds, Mrs. Whitelocke-Ballingsingh, that this has been around for a long time. Why are we highlighting it now, and what can we do about it now?
Yes, it has been around for a very long time. It has been highlighted in Jamaica now because it's now coming to our attention in terms of the global sphere. So for years, other countries within other regions, they have been advocating for PFAS-free containers. They have been advocating for PFAS not to be used in many things, even in the firefighting industry. For Jamaica, what we need to have is more of a policy framework in place, especially for the giant companies, for the international companies. We need to have that in place where the government would be mandating that this is our standard in Jamaica. We prefer for all the food containers that consumers will consume from in Jamaica not have this in. And the companies should try to adhere to it. And then we need to monitor to ensure that adherence or compliance is taking place.
Final one for you.
Yes.
How can we, as consumers at home, wherever, protect ourselves as well? Are there any tips you can share quickly?
Yes. So when you're purchasing even specific textile like coats or cosmetics, you look on the label. Once you see fluorine, fluorinated, you know that PFAS is in there. So you might not see any company writing PFAS on it, but you look for fluorinated carbon compound, and you know that it is in there. So read your labels. Read your labels to see what is there and ensure that you do not choose any product that has that type of ingredient within it. And that's how, as consumers, we can protect ourselves.
Yep. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. God bless you and your family.
You're welcome. Thank you also. Bye-bye.
That was Sherika Whitelocke-Ballingsingh, Poison Information Coordinator with the Poison Information Coordinator, pardon me, with Carpin. We've got more smile right after this.
Spit it out.